Welcome in for episode 4 of the Raleigh Oaks expansion team series. In this episode, you can expect the player draft combine, the draft itself, all-star rosters, a trade deadline where we're going to be quite active selling some of our top performers or players we can offload, depending, maybe Handa excluded. And then hopefully we close in on the end of the regular season and see how the playoffs pan out that unfortunately we are not going to be a part of. We did make some changes that we talked about at the end of last episode. We did move Mangum from center over to right because his defense in center just wasn't there. He'll definitely fare way better defensively in right field. We have rough hitting across the board, so it's tough to promote or demote based off of offensive production because there's really just not an improvement that we currently have at some spots. Rodriguez was starting in right field, as you know. He had a lethal arm, but he currently has negative 1.1 WAR and was hitting horrid right now. He had a 203 average with a 69 OPS plus. Nice, of course. Right field, he was putting up. Let me switch this over. In right field, he was also putting up negative zone rating himself, which is quite unfortunate. But Mangum should be able to pick that up and at least offer a similar bat, which is not great. Mesa does get the promotion up to center. We're going to hope this helps. It's not going to be great center field defense, but it should definitely help. Left-handed keeps that locked down, and everything else is pretty standard across the board. Nothing else changed on the offense. Pitching, we did in the last episode promote Nunez to a setup guy. We demoted Presley down. Presley wasn't doing awful by any means, but he's been below average, and Nunez has just been really, really good. You'll see with the 105 fit minus, that could be better, but his ERA plus is 152. Had an achievement pop up here as we try to sim over to the draft combine, and you'll see six consecutive hit streak for CJ Alexander on the season. Joey, okay, Joey's got to be realistic here. Why on earth did he randomly flip to win now instead of rebuilding? I mean, we won't bug him about it too much, but that is something. The first year draft combine kicks off today and runs for 5 days. Excitement around this yearly event has built to a crescendo, and with the draft just around the corner, all eyes will be on the combine for prospects to set themselves apart. On the field and in the training facilities, players will get to show off their skills in front of the interested teams, scouts, and coaches. Off the field, they'll be able to develop relationships with these organizations, helping drive draft day decisions. 42 out of the top 100 pipeline prospects will be attending this year, notably. And then they've profiled some top prospects here that are ranked draft prospects anyway. Grady Emerson coming in at number 2 will be attending the event. And I do think we have pretty much all of these guys invited to our combine scouting screen right here. These are the players we're planning on inviting. Some people we did have but we removed is Hudson Devon. I just don't like that control, to be honest. As a starter, I just value him more as a reliever, and I don't want to overload our scout because apparently you can't overload them for the combine. So we were eliminating people as we came across them that we didn't think highly of. Same with Tyler Spangler here. The defense, like he looks good, right? Don't get me wrong, hitting wise. But with the personality, I didn't want to prioritize having him as one of our invites, as well as he looks like a third baseman. And there's some solid shortstops we were actually able to invite, but he could become quite the power hitter if he realizes that power potential. But hopefully our scout is able to boost the scouting accuracy and relationship of the players we have invited, because we will likely be taking one of these players with our first overall pick in the draft, which actually takes place roughly a month from now. Well, we unfortunately had a rough injury where Victor Meza, who we just recently promoted to the starting center field spot, he just fractured his finger and he's going to be out for 6 weeks. We had placed him on the IL or the 10-day IL. And he was actually hitting okay. Now that's not great, still pretty bad, but it was better than what we had there in Mangum paired with the offense. But the corresponding move was to bring up Michael Gigliotti, who we talked about in the last episode. He has not been hitting great at all in AAA, but this is more so for his defense, so we don't have a black hole out there, hopefully. The combine did finish up. It ran for 5 days. You'll see our relationship and scouting accuracy improved for a lot of these players, so that's exciting. I can't wait to see how much that pays off for the draft. I know a lot of it. I know a lot of players' ratings and potential has already changed, and it brought a clear picture to how some players actually look. So we desperately needed that because some people we valued pretty highly, actually came down a bit. And Brady Harris, though, funny enough, who the OSA mock draft has us taking number one, he stayed relatively really, really good. Well, the injury bug sticks around. Unfortunate for Jonathan Rodriguez and us, of course. He has torn his thumb ligament and he is out for 2 months. We will be placing him on the IL as well. We'll throw him on the 60-day, being he is out for 2 months. And McKinstry has an injury. We don't know what it is yet. His diagnosis is pending, and it's also on his hand. So we're hoping for the best for him, as he's actually been pretty solid. But we're going to make some changes to make up for Rodriguez. We're going to be bringing up another outfielder, and we're going to see who that fourth outfielder will be. Pedro Leon is going to be getting the call up. We did draft him in the expansion draft, but he's been hitting quite well in AAA, as you will see here. Here's his stat line. He has a 926 OPS, 18 home runs, 133 OPS plus, 125 WRC plus. As well, he can play all three spots in the outfield for us. So, and he's good on the base paths as a plus. So he'll be coming up as that perfect fourth outfielder. 2 days later, Zach McKinstry's injury finally comes back, and he has also, of course, hurt his hand, and he has fractured it. He's going to be out for 5 weeks. So this is just going to be an injury episode, I fear. 10-day IL for him, and the corresponding move will be to bring up another middle infielder that can hopefully play across multiple positions from the AAA squad. We are going to be calling up Brett Wisely to come up and take the spot of McKinstry, who of course was just injured. And we're going to set up our depth chart and have him fill in everywhere McKinstry was. Closing in on the draft now. It's now July 5th. We're currently 6 days out. Got an interesting message here. Hao Yu Lee went 5 for 5 against Detroit, where he had a really good game. You'll see here he had 3 doubles, 3 RBIs, and a walk. He is currently hitting 285 on the year with an OPS plus of 132, a WRC plus of 130. Currently putting up 1.9 WAR, but he's on pace for 3.7. Having quite the year. 12 home runs. Got a new message from our owner. He wants to update us on our goals. Team record, sure would be nice if you would get the team to fix some things in the second half of the year. Much I would love to. He's probably going to hate it whenever we actually probably even get worse. Our team needs to build through the draft, and getting someone with as much potential as Johnny Santiago will certainly go a long way to building our team. Build your farm. We're a big step up from the prospect system we had in 25, but we're still away from having a top 6 system. Says he's ecstatic so far. So I mean, he's not too over the top, even though he changed our focus to win now. I'm not sure what that's about. Another all-star voting update for the AL side of things, at least. We'll show the NL as well. Here's how that's looking. Feel free to pause and take a quicker look. But we still obviously have Ferguson third in the reliever race, and it's deserved. He's far and away been our best player this year as far as pitching goes. National League side of things as well. Contreras, Soto, Marte, Chapman, Betts, James Wood, Jackson Merrill, Acuna, Otani, and Yamamoto and Devin Williams lead the race on the NL side of things. Top 100 prospect list has been updated as well. Santiago did hold on to that number 3 slot, as he is now 17 years old. This is how he looks again, in case you forgot. He looks quite good. We'll probably promote him up to our DSL team when he turns 18, maybe 19. We'll have to see how his bars are looking then. But this is the rest of the top 10. A lot of familiar names from the first and second episodes where we touched on the prospect list. Amala, he's 20 years old, and wow, he's developing very, very well. Saime, he's still got a ways to go. Castillo, he's getting closer, but not quite there. Hagen Smith, who actually I think started in the majors this year. He only threw, no, actually they bumped him down before the season started. Forgive me. He was projected to start in the majors. He's doing okay there. I guess he's been slightly below average, and they weren't happy with it. But he is upset. He does wish he was in the majors. I'm sure he'll battle back and get there. Angelo Juarez, an international amateur signing they made. Jesus made. Franklin Arias. Johnny Santiago, of course. Walker Jenkins, who has made his way onto the Mets. On the year, he is hitting 133. He did get promoted this year. He's been up for only 5 days, so he still looks like he's actually working out the kinks and trying to figure it out, but he's been really bad through his first 4 games. But there's quite the player in there for sure. And then Sebastian Walcott of the Rangers. He is still on their AAA squad. He's going through some injuries right now, but he has been having a rather okay year, round league average in AAA. He did make it up from AA, where he started really slow, and High A, been a little bit of everywhere, but he's currently at the AAA and he's about probably a year off or so. Ao Yu Lee picks up a Player of the Week award, our first one ever for the franchise, and it's much deserved as we know he's been having a crazy year. The MLB draft is finally upon us. I've been really looking forward to this, to be honest. It'll be one of our few bright spots of this season. Um, Once again, I did set the draft round negotiations to 3 instead of 5. But yeah, there will be 20 rounds. I'll probably go through the first 3 to 5 picks with you guys, and then I'll do a good chunk off camera, and I'll let you know how many of those I did before we hand it over to our assistant GM to do the rest. Taking another quick glance at how the OSA mock draft has changed up now. It now has us taking Keon Johnson first overall, where it used to have us taking Brady Harris. Taking a look at Keon, this is how he looks. He looks really solid. But I still really do like Brady. I can't lie. I'm kind of undecided right now, but we'll eventually figure it out. Jace was also someone else who had caught our eye, but his potential dropped a bit, and his defense is looking like it's going to just be average. But he looks like he's going to have a lot of pop, of course. And then Jason DeCaro was very, very interesting and pretty high on my list. Also, a quick glance at the draft pipeline coming into this draft, the top 100 prospects. DeCarlo does actually top that list, followed by Grady Emerson, Zach Strickland, and Alex Harrington, and Logan Redeman, respectively. He was another one I was interested in, but he also fell off some after we learned a lot more about him after the combine. We've officially kicked off the draft here and getting a new look at this draft central screen. It does look pretty cool. One thing I'd do, which you could do though, was sort down here at the draft pool at the bottom of the screen. That would be really cool. But that's okay. This does look really solid. It had your scouting recommendations up front and center, which is nice. But you can switch over to the sortable list here, of course. But this is just one of those things where it, like it always used to look beforehand. But it would be cool if we could somehow get that on this screen. But I'm not going to complain too much. This is nice overall. Our scout actually has done pretty well at his recommendations. You'll notice right away 3 of the players we were actually interested in actually do show up here. It is still a very tough pick, but you'll also notice their demands. Emerson is demanding slot. This is how he looks. His personality class, we didn't get to quite figure it out all the way, but he enjoys hanging out with teammates after the game, low adaptability. That does signal some okay traits. It says he wants slot, but down here it says his bonus demand is 12 million. I don't think that is slot, if I remember correctly, so that's a little confusing, but Jason DeCaro wants 11.5. We really like him. I mean, that movement and that control being that developed already, and his pitching BABIP being 50, 2 pitches out of his 4 already being very developed, and both of the other 2 being at 30 and 35. He's 20 years old. He has really good personality. I can't help but be trending his direction currently. Next up, looking at Brady Harris. He was the original OSA mock draft number 1. He looks like he's going to be a potential Gold Glove defender at all positions, maybe minus center, but he's going to have Gold Glove caliber defense at right and left field. He also has a good personality, other than just not being so loyal to a franchise. But he also looks really good. And then, of course, lastly, that our scout recommends is Alex Harrington. He probably is my least favorite of the bunch, but he does have low work ethic. Right now, I think I'm just torn between Brady Harris and Jason DeCaro, and I really like DeCaro. I can't lie. I mean, the personality is good. The current development, he is 20. He'll probably be like 3 years off, maybe 2 if we're lucky somehow. But we do have great minor league coaches to help develop him, hopefully, and we do have our player development budget maxed. But I do like taking college players, preferably in the first round, because they can help out your franchise quicker, especially if you're in a position like us where you need help quicker. Now, if we were like a top team, we had a good farm as is a little bit, or at least a halfway decent one, we wouldn't be as anxious about promoting someone so quick. Which this guy, we're still gonna give him time to develop. We're not gonna rush anything and hinder his development. Just doing our due diligence here and taking a look at some other interesting players before we really settle in on what it is we want to do. I just would really want to get our first ever draft pick right. You know what I mean? Like, it's no guarantee they're going to turn out to be something amazing, of course, but I just really would love for this one to hit, or at least have the satisfaction of feeling like it could hit, regardless of what kind of RNG goes our way development wise. After looking it over, I think we want to take Jason DeCaro. I just feel like if I were to miss out on him, I would be really upset. But I do love Brady a lot. But DeCaro does want slightly less. The recommended slot is 9 million. He does want 2.5 more than that. But we're going to meet that for him just so we have no issues locking down our first ever draft prospect. So we meet that demand, and we have selected Jason DeCaro with the first pick of the first round in the 2026 MLB draft, our first ever draft pick in Raleigh Oaks history. We have Sim to our next pick, and Grady Emerson went second overall to the Nationals. Alex Harrington went to the Angels, and Brady Harris fell to the Phillies, which is kind of surprising. I thought he would still go top three, but great get for the Phillies. And the Expos take Jace LaViolette, who looks like he'll be quite the player as well with that power. Looking at who is left in this one, most of the higher-ish potential guys have already been taken off the board. The only 60 potential player is Hudson Devon, which we mentioned he does look interesting, but that control just really throws me off, and he gives me reliever vibes. I just see that changeup never making it. I see these two developing and him just becoming a pretty solid reliever. I mean, in theory, some development labs could improve that control, but I just don't really see it happening personally. So I really don't want to use a second round pick on what I view as a relief pitcher. The guys our scout is recommending are center fielder Noah Wilson, starting pitcher Tommy Lepore, center fielder Chris Diaz, which is I don't know what the thought process is there. Maybe our scout knows his dad or something and told him that he would get drafted. Center fielder Anthony Murray. Yeah, I can't lie. I don't like these suggestions all that great. Tommy's okay. Noah isn't terrible, but I think we're going to look around a bit before we make a decision. Something interesting here is you can actually view the mock draft, which is quite cool, and you can see who has slipped or who's still available. Dion Cole was projected to go 13th overall to the Nationals, and he's still available. And he does look quite decent. He'll have great corner outfield defense, solid personality as well. So he's someone we have in mind. Looking at other players who have slipped, Rock Chalowski. That's tough to say there. Not a big fan of him, to be honest. I can see why he slipped. All as well, or as well as Gabe Gackle. He also gives me reliever vibes though. Will Gasparino, Cameron Haynes. Yeah, the pool really fell off after the first round. I can't lie. I think we're going to be taking a guy we kind of fell in love with in the draft combine, Andrew Wiggins. Not the basketball player, but the right fielder. He's 21. He'll be coming out of Indiana University. He wants 750,000 for his bonus, which isn't bad at all. He doesn't have great defense. Hopefully, we could boost it in the dev lab some, but he has a solid personality. He already has some quite developed power. If you can figure out the contact, then I think he'll turn out to be quite a good player. But 21, already realizing this much of his potential. I think he has a like medium floor, high ceiling vibe to him, but he's not a world beater potential wise. But that is who we're going to take with our second round pick. We have now made it to the third round, so we'll be making our third pick, of course. And this will be the last one we do on camera. Dion Cole has actually managed to fall all the way to the third, and I can't resist at this point. If I had to guess, I see why now, actually. Signability for us is impossible, bonus demand unknown. I want to guess this guy really wanted to be a first round pick, and now he's just pricing himself out of every single franchise's demands that they prefer for slot. So I really don't want to make that jump and be in that situation where we just waste a pick. Our scout pretty much still likes the same guys. Chris Diaz is still here. Hudson Devon, aka the reliever. Catcher Dylan Moss, who is interesting and I kind of like. And right fielder Jake Brown. He has developed a bit. We do only have average scouting accuracy. Looks like he has played as a two-way player some previously, because you'll see here he does have some pitching ratings, but the personality scares me a bit. I'll talk about personality a lot, of course, which it is important, but if the ratings are there, then I can't lie, I will gladly look at ratings over personality. If they're good, they're good. You know what I mean? After doing lots of combing through the rest of the pool, as I said, talent's getting a little more scarce for at least obvious draft picks. We are going to be taking Eric Segura. This will be our second pitcher of the draft. aside from the one we took in the first round, of course, with the first overall pick. And this is how he looks. His pitches are already quite developed. His changeup has going to be very plus plus there. Good stamina. Has high financial ambition, but a good baseball IQ and a good personality trait here where he likes to talk with coaches long after drills are over. He is a side armor and has a fly ball tendency, but that's okay. If he can realize that control, I think he'll be a serviceable player. We're going to take Eric Segura with our third round pick. And this is the last one that we will be showing on camera because I don't want to bore you guys, deep into these rounds. But we will cover some of our top prospects after the draft is over. All right, the draft has finished up, and our first three picks that you guys also got to see were Jason DeCaro. Negotiating with them, we did when we drafted all three of them, offered them their demands. He was our first overall pick. We are instantly going to get a new report on him, and we're going to remove him from our amateur draft targets because the goal has become a reality. We will add him to our favorite prospects, assuming he does agree to the deal anyway. We are meeting their demands. Slot for Wiggins was actually 2.2, and his demands were only 750,000, which is really, really nice. But he was our second overall pick, and then third was Eric Segura. We did draft through to the 12th round, but I can't lie, I feel like we stopped at a solid spot as far as what we showed on camera, because the draft drastically fell off after like the second round. But sorting by potential, we will highlight some of the other guys you guys didn't get to see. Luke McNeil, he comes in as more of a reliever type. We got him in the 6th round. Alex Petrovic, we got him in the 5th, another starting pitcher. Didn't love his personality, but at that point, the talent was, like I said, dwindling like largely. But those guys were kind of the headliners out of the ones you guys missed. Otherwise, not anyone too notable. We'll check an updated prospect rankings list at the end of the season and see if these guys happen to slide onto that list. Well, the first of the three prospects we had to negotiate a draft signing bonus with has signed. Andrew Wiggins was first, of course. He did want the least money, so that's nice. We got a new report will be coming through on him, and he is already on our favorite prospect shortlist. Can't wait to see how that report comes back. The All-Star voting results are finally completed. Here is how the AL side of things look. Once again, once we get to the bottom, I want to assume Ferguson did make it for us. He is going to be our one and only player showing up for the AL, but it is much deserved. Looking at his stats on the year, he has a WAR of 1.1 as a closer, mind you. 72 FIP minus, 213 ERA plus, 1.98 ERA. He has 14 saves. He's only blown 3 saves. He has 5 holds, 19 shutdowns, and only 5 meltdowns. On the NL side of the All-Star voting, this is how that looks. Feel free to pause if you wish to look at it a little bit longer, but I'm just going to do a quick scroll through. The All-Star prospect game rosters have also been announced, and Andy Laura for us has made it. He has been in Double-A. This is how he looks. Let's see, we have anyone else on here? This is my first time getting a look at it as well, so I'm looking at it with you guys. And it looks like he's actually going to be the only player that made it on. And here is the NL prospects that made the Prospects All-Star game. Kyle Schwarber wins your 2026 Home Run Derby. He currently plays with the Diamondbacks now in 2026. This year on the season, he has hit 27 so far, on pace for 50. As far as projections go, and 197 strikeouts. The NL beat the AL in the All-Star game. Bryson Stott wins the All-Star game MVP. Here's the box score for that. It was 4-2, where the NL actually scored 2 in the top of the 10th. The AL had 2 errors. You had to think that was very costly for them. Here's the box score and all the hitting stats. Tatis 2 for 3, Wood 2 for 3. There's some notables that stand out right away. Stott came on to pinch run and come in for Betts as second, where he went 1 for 1 with 1 run, 2 RBIs, and a walk. And then as far as pitching goes, this is how it panned out. Skeens got the start, followed by Yamamoto, Munez, and Priester, with Castillo getting the start for the AL, Woods, Richardson, then Bradford. Caleb Ferguson came in, and unfortunately for us, and I guess he did get to show up in repos, but he had 1 walk, 1 run, and 1 hit, sadly for him. But proud of him regardless. He was able to get his first ever All-Star appearance and a shiny new star on his profile. Caro did accept his bonus offer and officially joins our minor league system, as well as Eric Segura. He also accepted his bonus and joins our system. The trade proposals are starting to trickle in a little bit as we close in on the trade deadline. It is roughly 9 days away, but these trades here were just not big fans of, so I didn't feel like mentioning. Our GM didn't like this one. It says accept, but I mean they were giving us catcher Angel Diaz, Justin Chambers, who just looks horrid, or Ryan Presley and Jose Pena. Now, this isn't to say we won't move Presley, but not for that offer. And this one was even worse. They wanted Dominic and Jose Pena for two flyer prospects. That's 23 years old and 20 years old. They both look really rough. Now, we're not looking to absolutely slam the AI and win every single trade. I'd like for them to be balanced, of course, but those just weren't it for me. Jake Mangum has a phenomenal week and wins the NL Player of the Week. Says Mangum must have thought he died and went to heaven this week. First, he went on a remarkable batting rampage, hammering the ball at a 458 clip. Then the Raleigh center fielder finds out he has been voted the league's top performer and gets the AL Player of the Week award. I might have said NL Player of the Week a minute ago, by the way, but the AL Player of the Week award. For the week, he hit 458 with 2 home runs and 7 RBIs. That has boosted him to almost back to league average. He's been doing way better since the switch to right field. I don't know. Maybe he just hated playing in center. Of course, he's still listed as a center fielder here, but yeah, proud of him nonetheless. Brasso does go down with a 2-week injury, so we'll be placing him on the IL and bringing someone up from AAA. Pitcher getting the call up is going to be Michael Soroka. He's been doing pretty good in AAA with 2.3 WAR. Been roughly average down there. Not great by any means, but we're in no position to be picky. Brand new scouting report, and Jason DeCaro finally came back after signing his bonus. And he actually rose to 70 potential, which you'd love to see. Very excited about this guy. I think he could likely be our future ace if everything works out. We have arrived at the day before the trade deadline where we are going to be looking to do some business. As far as the standings go, we'll get those out of the way first. We have made it to 42 wins and 60 losses, currently bottom of the division, 2 games behind the Blue Jays, who have 44, and then a nice gap between the Blue Jays and the rest of the division. As far as the NL side of things, the Expos currently sit second, which again, I do not know how they are doing this with this team. I I really do not get it, but I'm super jealous. I can't lie. NL West, the Dodgers and Diamondbacks. The Dodgers are starting to break away just a little bit over there, 3 games ahead. And the Rangers are 7 games ahead of the Mariners. Wild card pitcher, this is how both of those look. With the trade deadline upon us, finally, we are going to be moving some players. Right now, I'm a little undecided, but I'm leaning towards seeing what maybe guys like Soto, who is going to be a free agent, and maybe Presley can bring us. Of course, this season is a wash. But as we mentioned before in previous episodes, we currently have no one locked up other than Handa and Ferguson just for 1 more year. In case you are wondering about Handa as well, he currently has a 111 OPS plus. We'll actually just go ahead and show everyone how they're doing. Lee and Handa have been the standouts, with Henry Davis as well being around league average. 2 other players in Hunter Goodman and Mangum being close to average. Gigliotti has came up and done okay, especially, I mean, with these ratings, what more can you ask for, I guess? And he's done decent enough at center. He has a .1 zone rating since coming up and starting 29 games. From there, everyone falls off a cliff, of course, and the offense has been horrid. Pitching wise, sorting by ERA plus, Soto, Ferguson have been the standouts, with Nunez in third. Pitching has actually been alright, but Hunter Gaddis has had a rough year fit minus wise, which you hate to see. And the rest, just like the offense, another very drastic fall off. Ryan Presley has been very bad, but he has been getting, for whatever reason, some trade interest amongst other teams. So we're going to shop him around and see if we can't offload him before the deadline passes. Shopping around Ryan Presley brought up an interesting prospect, Yohandy Morales of the Washington Nationals. They actually gave him a trial in the majors this year where he did rather solid in 37 games started. He was roughly league average, and they, I guess, sent him back down. Then he has Started 32 games there with 158 plate appearances, where he has been doing really, really well. I think we're going to take this deal. We don't like the work ethic, but I mean, he looks like a rather solid player with some more potential to be realized on those bars. It is July 30th, and our report is only from July 8th, so not that old. So I like to trust our scout on this one, and I think we're going to do this deal. We're going to be offloading Ryan Presley for third base prospect Yohandy Morales, who is currently ranked the number 58 prospect. So a few moves after losing Presley, we brought up Michael Soroka, who was already here for a bit, and then of course Dane Dunning. We brought up, he came off the IL after getting injured in spring training. We sent him down to a rehab assignment, and he did okay there. He's not great, but we're just trying to coast to the end of the season and get this one over with, of course, because it's not pretty for us. As far as lineups go, McKinstry did return. He came in. He's going to be our starting second baseman. Austin gets demoted to a bench bat beside Brett. And we demoted Juan Brito. Mesa came back off of the IL as well, and we demoted Pedro Leon, who we had promoted to come up and be our fourth outfielder. In the meantime, he was having a miserable time. In 32 plate appearances, he had a 19 OPS plus. This is how our pitching staff looks now, and our lineups as well as the rotation. We are currently still at the trade deadline. As far as other than Presley, teams haven't had too much interest in the other players on our squad, of course, which I can't say I blame them. We have tried to shop around Soto a little bit, and even Alexis Diaz and guys like that who are expiring, just trying to get something at this point better than nothing. But this may end up being a quieter deadline than we thought, but we'll see what else we can work in. So we did add a few guys to the block, being Gregory Soto and Nestor Cortez. Just want to see what was out there. One offer that came in for Cortez was right fielder Calvin Harris. Don't love that. An offer came in for Soto where they would send us 23-year-old minor leaguer second baseman Casey Cook with 40 potential, and 23-year-old minor league right-handed pitcher Fernando Guarne, or Guarnere. I don't like that deal either. We finally got a trade proposal worth our while from the Mariners for Gregory Soto, and they want Justin Lower. I'm not super attached to this guy. He actually don't look too bad, but he was a random minor league free agent that we signed just trying to fill out our minor league rosters. So I'm not super attached to him, so I'm not, hard pressed to keep him. Here is Soto, of course. His contract is expiring. We were looking to get something. He is 31. Looking though at what he wants for an offer is 5.5. That's not awful by any means, but I don't see us really offering him for a team in our position. The Mariners are wanting to send us 22-year-old left fielder Charles Davelin, who I actually like the look of. They actually just drafted him last year in the third round. His avoid Ks and contact is coming along nicely. Our report isn't older than him at all. It's from the 19th, and we're on the 31st. Looks like he'll be able to play left field with zero issues. He even has some infield range. He could probably play second base and could definitely end up playing first. So I really like him. The other player they wanted to make a part of that deal, we're not as high on, but it's just more filler. I mean, to be fair, he could end up becoming better if his control were to improve. Who knows what could come of Tyler Go. So I think we are going to accept this deal where we send Gregory Soto and Justin Lower to the Mariners in return for Charles Davelin and Tyler Go. The trade deadline has officially passed, and we were only able to make 2 trades where we traded Gregory Soto and Justin Lower to the Mariners, getting Charles Davelin and Tyler Go. And then we traded Ryan Presley to the Washington Nationals, getting 24-year-old minor league third baseman Yohandy Morales. Not a bad deadline in my opinion. I feel like we could have offloaded even more. We got some offers right at the deadline for Nestor Cortez, but literally none of them made sense. They were giving us bare minimum scraps. We do have zero intentions of re-signing him, but I felt the value we got the rest of the year was better than anything those minor league prospects ever would have became. To fill the gap that Soto left on the Major League roster, we're going to be promoting Connor Gray, who was not great by any means, but he's been doing all right in AAA. So he's just going to get the bump up to hopefully ride out the rest of the season with us. He's just going to slot in at long relief. We're not going to throw another setup guy in the mix. Not really anyone who super deserves it that I trust. So we're just going to leave Nunez and Ferguson as our high leverage guys. Once again, this is how our lineups look as well at the trade deadline, and here is our pitching staff. We are 42 and 60 at the deadline. We have a lot of baseball left, but like I said, we're pretty much out of it at this point. But we're going to try, and hopefully our draft pick is as good as it can be. After the trade deadline is passed, it's now August 1st, and we have a big player development update coming through. Yohandy Morales is actually here. His overall rating went up to a 45. His potential dropped to 50. Isn't that bad? This is kind of already how we knew him. Thinking about promoting him and letting him play out the rest of the year, since the Nationals played him a lot this year as is, where he didn't really deserve to get demoted. He has 5 plate appearances with us in one game that he started, and he had a really good game. Up next is Quinn Pridgeon. He had a lot of red happen to him, unfortunately. Closer Jervis Alfaro got some bumps. Catcher Mac Rose got some bumps. No one here of note, really. Eric Segura, that we did just draft, had some rating changes. His stuff dropped. His potential stuff dropped to 50, but he saw his control improved and the potential control improve, as well as his stamina. Alex Petrovic, that we also drafted in the most recent draft, potential stuff dropped and movement, but stamina and overall did improve. His potential rating dropped to 45, which is unfortunate, but he was a 5th round pick. But if he realizes these bars, I think he'll end up being a pretty solid 5th round pick. Next is Parker Hutra. Tough to say, but he had some drops. Jason DeCaro actually saw his movement rating improve by 5 points and his potential jump to 70. And then Andrew Wiggins, our 2nd round pick, his power dropped to 40 and his eye dropped to 40. So a little scary there, but nothing too crazy, as he is only 21 and this is his first year in the minors, but we'll see how he develops. And then closing it out with 16-year-old Luis Avalos, who was a scouting discovery by our scout. Nothing too crazy there in the first place. Figured it would be cool to show how I go about promoting prospects in case you would like a more in-depth tutorial on this. I did upload a tutorial on that, as well as a video on my game settings. But yeah, we're going to start with our rookie ball teams, and they will be going up to A ball. So we're going to switch ratings relative to California, which is that league they would be in. We look for 45 to 50 before we consider promoting them. Looking here at Irandis Ramon, he's having a really solid year in rookie ball, and he's a 45, and the bars look as if he should be able to hold his own. He will be getting the promotion to Nashville. Looking at the pitching side of things, right away you'll notice there's quite a few pitchers, 2 being that we actually just drafted, which is encouraging, but I don't think I really want to rush them up just yet, and I'd probably prefer them to stay down here and play a little bit of bully ball for a bit to really start their development off right, hopefully. But Jorge Geraldo, I think he does deserve to go up. He had a great year, and he has good ratings as well. We're going to promote him to Nashville, and we're going to let these other guys, I guess, just sit here, because Drew Titsworth, as well as from this past draft. Keep in mind, that's not how good he really is. This is actually how he looks, which he has some potential. All in all, a pretty solid deadline with some decent return. We are just kind of putting it on autopilot at this point and going to ride out the rest of the season. In the next episode, we will cover the back half of the regular season, and then we'll do a season review and see how everything looks. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to hit that thumbs up button. And if you happen to watch this one as your first ever episode, be sure to check out the first 3 that I've already dropped, as well as some tutorials on the channel that may help you out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.